Welcome back to Military Forces, everyone. The future of Russia's sole aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov, hangs precariously in the balance. There's significant speculation that the Kremlin might decide to scrap the carrier, a move that would have major implications for the Russian Navy. This would signify a potential conclusion for a vessel notorious for its troubled past, marked more by malfunctions and mishaps than operational deployments. For years, the Admiral Kuznetsov has been undergoing a challenging refit and upgrade, a process plagued by issues that now appear to have halted entirely. This situation has ignited crucial discussions within the Russian military and shipbuilding sectors regarding the carrier's ultimate fate. Okay, so get this. Russia's only aircraft carrier has a crazy story, and what happens to it could totally flip naval warfare on its head. Seriously, you gotta stick around to the end to get the whole scoop. Throughout its tumultuous service, the Admiral Kuznetsov has earned a reputation as a floating disaster, a moniker that, ironically, often stretches the definition of floating itself, given its frequent need for assistance. Launched in 1990, during the twilight years of the Soviet Union, the conventionally powered aircraft carrier was envisioned as a symbol of Soviet naval might. However, following the dissolution of the USSR, it remained the only aircraft cruiser to serve with the Russian Navy after the mid-1990s, inheriting a legacy that quickly devolved into a series of unfortunate events. Even at its inception, the Admiral Kuznetsov was arguably outdated and outclassed by its Western counterparts. Its propulsion system, reliant on inefficient mazout fuel, was a critical flaw. This heavy fuel produced conspicuous black smoke, easily visible from vast distances, effectively broadcasting the carrier's location to any potential adversary. Beyond its telltale emissions, the fuel system demanded frequent, intensive maintenance, further hamstringing the ship's operational readiness. Compounding these issues, the carrier's endurance was a mere 45 days, a significant limitation for a vessel designed for long-range power projection. With Russia possessing only a handful of ports capable of accommodating the carrier year-round, its operational scope was severely restricted. It became a common, almost comical sight to see the Admiral Kuznetsov escorted by tugboats during deployments, a precautionary measure against its well-documented propensity for mechanical breakdowns at sea. Perhaps one of its most defining and debilitating design characteristics was its reliance on a ski jump ramp for launching its air contingent. While a novel approach to carrier operations, this configuration proved spectacularly ill-suited for the Russian fighters designed to operate from its deck, limiting their payload capacity and operational flexibility compared to aircraft launched via catapult systems on Western carriers. This inherent design flaw, coupled with its propulsion woes, painted a clear picture of a warship struggling to meet the demands of modern naval warfare from the outset. The Admiral Kuznetsov's operational life has been punctuated by a bewildering series of mechanical failures and accidents, each adding another chapter to its unfortunate saga. One of the most severe incidents occurred in 2009 when a deadly fire broke out on board, resulting in casualties and significant damage. This incident was a stark, early warning of the vessel's inherent vulnerabilities and the challenges associated with its maintenance and operation. The world watched with concern in late 2011, during what was only the carrier's fourth deployment. While transiting the Mediterranean Sea, the warship's precarious condition prompted United States Navy officials to order the Sixth Fleet to maintain close contact, fearing the vessel might flounder and sink before it could reach Russia's naval facilities in Syria. This episode underscored the international perception of the Admiral Kuznetsov not as a formidable warship, but as a potential maritime hazard. The ship's return to port for a much-needed refit in 2017 was supposed to herald a new chapter, a comprehensive modernization that would finally bring it up to contemporary standards. Instead, the refit itself became a continuation of its troubled history, plagued by a fresh series of catastrophic incidents. In October 2018, while undergoing repairs at the PD-50 floating dry dock in Murmansk, a massive 70-ton crane crashed onto its flight deck, causing significant damage and leading to casualties. The dry dock itself, one of the largest in the world, subsequently sank, leaving the Kuznetsov without a suitable facility for its extensive repairs. Just over a year later, in December 2019, another deadly fire erupted on board during welding operations. This blaze, which raged for nearly 24 hours before being contained, inflicted further damage and resulted in more fatalities and injuries. These incidents, occurring within the confines of a supposedly controlled refit environment, cast profound doubt on whether the Russian carrier could or even should ever return to active service. The original timeline for its reintegration into the fleet, initially set for the end of 2022, has been pushed back numerous times, a clear indication of the insurmountable challenges faced in its restoration. The recent report from Izvestia, a state-run newspaper, about the suspension of work on the Admiral Kuznetsov and the ongoing discussions about its official retirement and scrapping signals a potential turning point. While the warship has undoubtedly been seen as a symbol of national pride by some Russian officials, its practical utility has been severely undermined by its persistent failures and the sheer cost of maintaining it. Admiral Sergei Avakiants, the former commander of the Russian Navy's Pacific Fleet, has been a vocal proponent of retiring the carrier, calling it absolutely the right move. His assessment is blunt. The Kuznetsov is from a different era. This is a very expensive and ineffective naval weapon. The future lies with robotic systems and unmanned aircraft. His comments reflect a growing sentiment within some segments of the Russian military establishment that continued investment in the Admiral Kuznetsov is a misallocation of resources, especially in an era where naval warfare is rapidly evolving towards unmanned systems and advanced technologies. The fear is that even if the monumental effort to complete its refit were successful, the carrier would still be hopelessly outdated, unable to effectively project power or defend itself against modern threats. The economic burden of the refit, estimated to be in the billions of rubles, combined with the repeated setbacks and accidents, has likely pushed the Kremlin to a critical juncture. The cost-benefit analysis of pouring more resources into a vessel that has proven to be a perpetual liability, both operationally and financially, seems to be tilting decisively towards retirement. Despite the Admiral Kuznetsov's dismal track record, there remains a faction within Russia that argues vehemently for the necessity of an aircraft carrier in the country's future naval strategy, particularly for its northern and Pacific fleets. Proponents envision a new generation of flat tops, capable of operating with both advanced drones and manned aircraft, reflecting a desire to maintain a blue water navy with global reach and power projection capabilities. Ilya Kramnik, a researcher from the Center for Strategic Planning Studies at the Russian Academy of Sciences Institute of World Economy and International Relations, expressed optimism, stating, "With the experience gained from operating the vessel, Russia can construct a new ship of similar size." This perspective suggests that the lessons learned from the Admiral Kuznetsov's failures could inform the design and construction of a more capable and reliable successor. However, the practicalities of such an ambitious undertaking remain a significant question mark. The very fact that Moscow has struggled so profoundly to refit and modernize an existing, albeit problematic, aircraft carrier raises serious doubts about its capacity to build a brand new, complex warship from scratch. The expertise, infrastructure, and financial resources required for such a project are immense, and the track record of the Kuznetsov's refit does not inspire confidence. The geopolitical landscape, coupled with Russia's ongoing military commitments and economic pressures, further complicates any plans for a new carrier. So, basically, if they scrap the Admiral Kuznetsov, it's going to be the end of a really messy chapter for the Russian Navy. I mean, yeah, it might sting a bit for some folks who thought it was a big deal, but honestly, it's just them admitting this ship was kind of busted, super ineffective, and cost a fortune to keep around. If they actually go through with it, Russia's going to have to seriously rethink its whole naval game plan. They'll probably want to switch to cooler, cheaper ways to show off their power instead of clinging to this old, outdated symbol. And whether Russia ever gets a proper aircraft carrier fleet, it totally depends on if they can finally get over all the huge problems that messed up their one unlucky flat top. So, what are your thoughts on the Admiral Kuznetsov? Do you think Russia should scrap it or try to keep it afloat? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into the Admiral Kuznetsov's troubled history informative, please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Military Forces for more in-depth analyses of global military developments. Thanks for sticking with us until the very end.